Welcome back to the Zoned In Pod, everybody. As always, I'm Joey Meatballs. Alongside me, we have KP, Big Mo, and Weezo, and we're ready to bring you another week of some sports talk. We'll kick it right into things with our player of the week. My player of the week this week, it's one of the best players in the NBA year in, year out. He broke a record this week, so props to him. He's been hot, and his team has actually been winning when he's getting these triple doubles. It's Luka Doncic. Broke the record for most triple doubles in a row. Previous record was 6 games by Russell Westbrook. Now it's 7 by Luka. We'll see if he can keep it going tomorrow night. But yeah, he's been on a heater. But I mean, you got to win games. Obviously, that's some abs. But they won last night pretty big against the Pistons, and yeah, triple doubles galore. We love to see it. Big Mo.
This guy, man, I gotta tell you, he looks a lot like someone we know. He looks very similar to someone that is also able to cook up on the court day in and day out. And that would be myself as player of the week. Alperen Sengun of the Houston Rockets. He started this week in an immaculate battle that we could not stop talking about while getting Kane's chicken on Thursday. And that was the 45-pointer, 16 rebound, 5 steal, 3 assist game he had against the Spurs on Tuesday, matched up against Wemby. Wembanyama was held to 10 points in that game, matched up against Sengun. Wild. He followed that up with a decent performance against the Clips. He had a triple-double of 23 points, 19 rebounds, and 14 assists in their loss to the Clippers. In their win over the Trailblazers, he had a steady 19 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists against the Trailblazers. And they have a tough matchup against the Kings today. But honestly, just for a young center in this era of the NBA, he's been playing phenomenally. And he has emerged as a very good leader for that Rockets team. If not Jalen Green, it's Alperen Sengun.
All right, KP.
Yeah, okay. So for my player of the week, I went with one of my favorite players. He's been one of my favorite players for a while. De'Aaron Fox. Across the week, he had a very good week. I started off with a 20-point, 10 assists performance in a loss. That wasn't amazing, but he also dropped 44 points on 60% shooting against the Lakers in a win, and 33 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals against the Spurs in another win. So he's been playing very good the entire season. He's one of the best point guards in the NBA. He has been for a little while now, and the Kings are in a good spot to do some damage.
Yeah, the Kings have been. Weezo.
My player of the week this week, it's gonna be your very own Jaylen Brown. He put up very good scoring performances this week of 27, a big game where you have 41 points and 14 rebounds, good double-double there. Then he also followed that up with performances of 21 and 29. So overall, just a very good scoring week from him, showing that the money they give him is worth it.
Yeah, he had a good week. Can't complain about him. Some other people you can, though. All right, digging into team of the week. My team of the week is the Denver Nuggets. For starters, they beat the best team in the NBA record-wise, my Boston Celtics. And obviously, that's a big win. They won by 10, I believe. This is a good-sized win for them against a really good team. They also beat the Jazz, Carl and Max's glorious king, and the LA Lakers. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. And then I can't remember if this was this week or last week, but they also beat the Heat and the Kings, which are 2 borderline playoff teams, if not play-in teams. Good teams nonetheless. Yeah, Nuggets, reigning champs. Looking like it. They're getting hot. They're looking good. Playing good ball all around. So everyone's contributing. It's hard to find a weak spot on that team right now. But all right, yeah. Big Mo, team of the week.
This one's close to home. But today, for this team of the week, we select one of the only teams, if not, from what I saw, the only team that is undefeated throughout this week. is the Atlanta Hawks with no Trae Young in sight. My goodness. I mean, yeah, 3-0 this week. 2 wins over 2 currently playoff caliber teams in the Knicks and the Cavaliers. Sometimes you just can't beat the Cavaliers if you're a certain team, but some teams can. A team fighting to make it into the play-in without their star. I think one of the biggest performances was just a night or two ago when we played the Grizzlies. DeJounte Murray looked like DeJounte Murray in a basketball game again, dropping 40-something, almost scoring half of our points in a close win over the Grizz. I really thought that Jalen Johnson is playing very good lately, but he just got out of contention with an ankle injury a couple of games ago, so he hasn't been able to play the last game. He was out early in the game against the Cavs. But a man that's been able to pick up that slack is Shadiq Bey, who has really helped us in the three-point shot department and just making shots in general. But yeah, looking good for my Hawks this week. Can't usually say that.
All right,
KP.
and for my team of the week, I went with a team that has been playing very poorly this season, but had a decent stretch in the last week. The Chicago Bulls. On Monday, they started off with a win against the playoff-bound Sacramento Kings in a close one in Sacramento. That was 113 to 109. And then another very close one against the Jazz and the Warriors on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. Both teams have not been great that they played, but they're still competitive, and the Bulls have been playing well, especially on the back of DeMar DeRozan. They did lose last night against the Clippers, but the Clippers are one of the best teams in the NBA, so that's nothing to slouch on.
Yeah, so leading off that point, my team of the week, I'm actually going to pick the Los Angeles Clippers. As of right now, while we're recording this, they are currently playing the Bucks for the second time this week, which is quite unfortunate for them because it looks like they're going to lose for the second time to them by less than 10 points. However, both good performances despite the losses, so they will be 3-2 on the week, with their wins coming against the Bulls, Rockets, and Timberwolves. Bulls, as you said, are kind of up on the rise right now, despite a down year. They're fighting hard, and tough fought win for the Clippers and in them. But the Timberwolves, also a good team, beat them I believe by 1 in a very close game. Yeah, it came down to the wire there. Overall, just a good job by the Clippers this week to keep pace in a brutal West Conference that's full of talent. And if the Clippers make a good position in the playoffs with the amount of experience on that team and the overall talent, they can make some noise.
Yeah, for sure. Clippers have been hot all year. It'll be fun to see them in the playoffs. All right, before we head to our UFC segment, I got 2 quick tidbits here. One, as of a few minutes ago, we have a fight in women's basketball between LSU and South Carolina. It's kind of shocking, in my opinion. You don't really see that coming, especially out of women's basketball. But
two teams that don't like each other. They're in the. I believe they're in the conference tournament. So
yeah, and 5 players left on each team. That's it. So bench is clearing.
Wow.
So I mean that's pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. From a matchup I wasn't intending on watching, I kind of wish I did now. All right, yeah. And then the second little tidbit here is the reason why I'm wearing my Hawaiian Red Sox shirt today. The Red Sox are taking on the Tampa Bay Rays in the Dominican Republic yesterday, today, and I think tomorrow, maybe, which is pretty exciting because that's the first MLB series being played in the Dominican, which is where a vast majority of MLB players come from. So it was really cool to go out there and watch Ortiz and Pedro throw out the first pitches yesterday. But yeah, that's something cool I wanted to share. But all right, moving on. UFC 299 last night. We 3 of us watched it. We were all entertained. I was very entertained with Dustin Poirier and his KO. I'm a big DP fan, but I was very confused why I kept trying to go for the guillotine instead of just going for the knockout. I feel like it hurt him in terms of the significant strike counts because you know, I'm a UFC casual, if I'm being honest. But what I watched last night, I liked from Dustin Poirier. And then in terms of the main event, Sugar Sean and Cheeto Vega.
Cheeto Vera. Yeah.
Vera, sorry. Cheeto just got his face punched in for about 5 rounds. 4.5 rounds of flawless fighting from Sean there. Props to him. But also props to Cheeto for not getting knocked down once and eating a knee to the chin that would have sent pretty much anyone else to the morgue. That was pretty crazy to watch. He's just like a real life Rocky right there.
Yeah, it was actually the first time that Cheeto's actually ever bled in a UFC fight.
Yeah.
And he got like pieced up pretty bad. You know that a fighter has a slim chance when the commentators pre-fight are just about his heart in about like 5 or 6 different ways and not his actual skill set.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could tell early on. I mean, he didn't really have much to offer. I mean, obviously he has a very good KO capability, but it's either knock somebody out or lose the decision, which is pretty much all of his fights. And he was also coming off of a loss against Corey Sandhagen. So definitely not the most talented matchup for O'Malley to face, but still a decent one nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would have liked to see Cheeto be a little more aggressive earlier because he kind of waited to the 4th round to actually go at Sean. And by that point, he already lost the decision because he lost the first 3 rounds. You know, once you lose the first 2 rounds, I'd like to see Cheeto get a little more aggressive going into that 3rd round, try to, put up a fight instead of just taking it. It was like it looked like Sean was just sparring.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then
sorry.
I was gonna say going back to the Poirier fight, you could tell early on especially from Saint Denis' pace that was not gonna last the full 5. So
Yes.
And Poirier is a much better boxer than Saint Denis. Saint Denis mostly a wrestler, but he has some good power. So you would have liked to see Poirier not waste his gas tank trying to go for 5 guillotines in 8 minutes, as you're wasting a lot of energy trying to jump on top of somebody and get the choke in, and he never really got it in a single time. So especially when his coach kept telling him to stop and he kept doing it, and then in the post fight interview, he was still like, "I'm going for the guillotine no matter what." It's just funny.
He likes that guillotine.
Yeah.
Oh, and then real quick, thoughts on the Michael Venom Page fight, Carl?
Oh, MVP. I'd actually bet for MVP this fight. I've watched some of his highlights, not any of his full fights from like Bellator and some of the earlier promotions. He actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but I believe he fractured a fighter's orbital bone with a knee. And it's probably one of the nastiest KOs of all time. Literally broke his skull. So
yeah, no, he caved his face in and threw a Pokeball at him.
Yes,
I remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
He grabbed that.
Yeah, he put the
grabbed
Pokemon
the
trainer
ball,
hat on.
and he threw the ball at the guy's decrepit body. It was terrible.
Yeah.
He's a character.
What are your thoughts overall, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm always down to watch some UFC fighting. When I see a card of like people that tell me that they're notable people, I sometimes watch. But I'm a big, like with baseball, that I'm a home run guy. I'm a big knockout guy. And the one thing I love to see in the UFC and boxing and everything like that is pure knockouts. And I got to say, I am a fan of prelim fights because I feel like in prelim fights, nobody in turn cares about those people that are fighting. So that gives those people that are fighting more of a fire and kind of like passion to do good in a shorter amount of time, to show off their talents more, to earn their spots in higher cards. And there was a man by the name of Rob Lees Des Page.
Robelis de Spain. Oh my God.
Yes.
Dude.
He knocked a man out in 18 seconds in only 7 connected strikes, and that
Yeah.
was wild.
The fight
Spain
in
was
general was
35.
awesome.
Yeah. The heavyweights though, I love heavyweight fights. Following that, there was Curtis Blades, taking care of business in the preliminary card, in 30 seconds into round 2 with a KO. I thought a cool stat was how he had 16 significant strikes to his opponent's 1, which definitely shows you how he comes out
Yeah.
on top in that
Yeah,
matchup.
both of these guys are both wrestlers, and
Uh-huh.
Almeida had just fought earlier in the year against Derek Lewis, who's probably one of the funniest guys in the UFC. Great character,
Balls
but
were
it was
hot.
probably one of the worst fights, literally, because Almeida laid on top of Derek Lewis for 25 minutes, and they did
Ooh.
nothing. So after that fight, everybody hated Almeida and seemed like he was dominating the first round, and then he just got caught. So
And yeah, I mean, we were talking about Dustin Poirier. And the one thing I liked about going off of Carl talking about him being primarily a boxer, I think it was very nice to see a stat as high as 80% on all of his strikes and overall strikes, and both his significant strikes were both in the 80% accuracy, which is scary for someone that's that good at punching things.
yeah, Poirier's actually a jiu-jitsu black belt. So he's actually primarily a wrestler, but he's been fighting for so long that his boxing was just so far ahead of Saint Denis.
That was correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that more like a win or retire type fight for him?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Poirier to just come off a loss to Justin Gaethje, it's pretty ugly. He got his lights taken out. So this I believe sets him up for his 3rd title shot against Islam Makhachev, which is probably going to be plus 400 against, because Islam Makhachev is the best fighter in the world at the moment. So
Yeah, it'll be a shame to see him retire. But
yeah, and also Sean O'Malley in his post-fight presser was talking about he will move up to 145 to fight Ilia Topuria in Spain. I think that would be interesting for the UFC for sure. I think that would be two of their most rising stars. If Volk takes it about 6 to 8 months off, which I think he should, then I think O'Malley is going to fight Topuria in Spain, and then Merab Dvalishvili and Sandhagen will probably fight for the interim belt at 135. But I think
Nice.
Topuria is gonna. If that happens, Topuria is gonna kill Sean O'Malley. So
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
yeah. Well, especially O'Malley isn't like a big guy, really. He's just 135 is the best weight class for him. He's the most power at 135. At 145, I think he'd get demolished.
Yeah, he's my height and 70 pounds less than me. It scares me. How he has
Well,
like
he's got no muscle on him.
muscle.
He's just skinny.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move along here into my worst of the week. A little foreshadowing earlier when Big Mo said his team of the week, I believe. The Boston Celtics. I didn't want it to come to this, but it's came to this. Initially, coming into this week, it was going to be the Warriors. But then the Celtics lost to the Cavs and the Nuggets. And Tatum looked buns in both those games. A guy who, after the Warriors game, people put him in the MVP conversation. I did not agree with that, personally. I think he's a great player. I do not think he's a top 5 player. But when you are supposed to be the best player on the best team, you have to, A, make your shot when it comes down the last second against the Cavs, or B, score in the 4th quarter against the Cavs. Like, what are we doing? We were up big going into the 4th, and you blow it. We are the best fourth quarter teams in terms of point differential in the fourth quarter, and you blow that lead. I mean, it's aggravating because I didn't watch the entire fourth quarter because I thought the game was over against the Cavs, reasonably so. I come back, and it's a 5-point game. Like, what happened? I don't know. My guess is they probably went to iso balls, try to drain the clock, stuff like that, try to just run out the time, and straight away from their team ball identity. That's what they're best at. And then to round it all off against the Cavs, that last shot Tatum took. Don't call the foul, refs. It's clearly not a foul. Let Porzingis get the putback. That's what I'm more mad about. The foul shouldn't have been called. I agree it wasn't a foul. But Porzingis had a wide open layup that he scored, and we didn't get it. So personally, I'm more aggravated about that poor call than anything else. Granted, it should not have come to that, but it did. And then against the Nuggets, Tatum stunk it up again. And then even last night in their win against the Suns, he said it himself. He stunk, and he's glad he has good teammates around him. Granted, he went 3 for 10 in the first half, but 8 for 18 in the second half, and with 20-something points, ain't too shabby. But yeah, Tatum, you got to step up your game. Boston Celtics, like Derek White especially, you start out so hot, and defensively you're still hot, but offensively you need to pick it up, man. We need you scoring. We can't have Tatum and Brown taking every single shot. But other than that, it's just the Celtics need to figure it out. They need to figure it out because they're not going to win a title against teams like the Nuggets if they're going to keep playing like this. They might not even make it past the Bucks if they keep playing like this. Thoughts?
Yeah, so I think I had said in an earlier video that the only thing that can possibly beat the Celtics at this point is themselves, and I think we're kind of starting to see that here. They are a very good team. They're probably the single deepest team in the entire league. But it seems like consistently, year in, year out, like this isn't just a problem that's new. It just seems like they'll get hot and then they'll just fall apart, like at the most basic levels, and games that are completely winnable, completely within their grasp, and just find a way to lose somehow. And Jason Tatum is at the center of that a lot of the times. When he's doing really good, the Celtics are doing really good, but then he just doesn't show up on some days, and it's the weirdest thing, honestly.
I mean, this year, though, Nick, is a lot different than other years in the aspect where this is the best starting five we've had since like 2008.
Yeah.
We don't have a crazy deep bench. I mean, yeah, Luke Cornett would be starting for the Wizards, but I could start for the Wizards and average 40 points.
Hey.
But
listen, we won a game this week. I don't want to hear it.
I mean, in terms of the Cavs game, I mean, previous years we fall apart in third quarter, and we fell apart in fourth quarter, so it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, if you win that game, the story is Derek White finished the game with 6 blocks at 6'4", instead of Jason Tatum scored 2 points in the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, honestly, with the Cavs game that you lost in blue, I would say that game says more about the Cavs than it does about you, honestly. Like it just shows that the Cavs, they just have it this year. I feel like they're like a team.
No, the Celtics just handed them the game. The Celtics missed like every shot they took in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the only teams or players that can beat the Celtics is the Celtics and Dean Wade.
Yes, Dean Wade.
Yeah, I don't think Dean
Jokic.
And also, I think that's more of a fluke and how basketball is a weird sport.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because Dean Wade had dropped 0 points in his last 60 minutes or whatever before that game, and also Donovan Mitchell was not playing.
Yep.
So
I was about to say Donovan Mitchell was not present.
Yeah, I mean, but we can't act like this happens every game. This happened maybe once or twice this year, where the Celtics have blown a lead. I mean, they're the best team in the NBA. They're easily the best team in the NBA.
And this is Tatum's first.
They shouldn't let this affect them.
Yeah, I'm just saying they need to watch out for this in the playoffs.
I think that's
Nick,
what people worry about.
It's different from previous years, though, Nick, because previous years we weren't 42-12. We were 28-12, and we had those 12 losses at 28 wins. because we blew so many third quarter leads.
Also,
early.
On those past Celtics teams, who was taking the shots when they were in those times? Marcus Smart. Okay, Marcus Smart was taking every shot then. He's not on the team anymore. Drew Holiday is much more efficient. He's a smarter player. He turns the ball over a little bit more than you'd like to see, but that's every point guard in the NBA. So, what are you gonna do?
Better defender.
Yeah, I mean he's getting older. He
Yeah,
has
he
good
is.
defense. So I will take like the 2 turnovers a game if he's going to get the ball back 2 times. That's the same thing with Derek White. Derek White turns the ball over a good amount, but Derek White also blocks, like gets 3 blocks a game and 2 steals. So
Yeah,
I mean
You
he's
guys probably have the
average
best.
a block in 3 quarters at 6'4", by the way, is absolutely insane. Let me just throw that out there.
Definitely. You guys probably have the best guard like defense in the league. I would
Best
say.
defense period.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we're going to head over to our Hot Zone Hot Take of the Week, brought to you by the man, the myth, the legend, the Italian Stallion, the Sultan of Sting, the heavyweight champion of... No, I'm just kidding. Big Mo, take it away with the Hot Zone Hot Take of the Week.
We here at the Zoned In Podcast would like to inform you that the Hot Zone is not always for my outlandish statements. It is also for generalized discussion. And today I brought forward a generalized discussion that I think we need to have based off of today's news drop. Mac Jones, former starting quarterback, benched of the New England Patriots, traded to the Jaguars today. Bye-bye, Mac. The Mac era is over. Was his fallout in New England a result of his own immature actions on and off the field, or is it a result of the actions of the Patriots front office?
I would like to start off with this one because it's very near and dear to me. In my opinion, they're both to blame. I mean, when you take, a rookie or a second-year player coming in second year, had a good rookie year with a real offensive coordinator calling the shots, and then you take a defensive coordinator who's not even good at being a defensive coordinator, and you say, hey, coach this offense. The only thing Matt Patricia ever should be doing in football, or not even in football, the only thing he should be doing in this world is rocket science, because clearly that's the only thing he can't do. But with that being said, not surrounding him with weapons and giving him a defensive coordinator as his offensive coordinator, obviously not going to help any rookie whatsoever. With that being said, I do believe that Mac Jones was also a product of that Alabama wicked talented wide receiver core, in the sense that he just looked really good in college because he had really good guys around him. And I mean, like, he was thrown to some of the best receivers in the country at the time. And some of those guys are making an impact in the NFL, some aren't. But regardless, he looked better at Alabama because of who he had around him. And he had the greatest college football coach in history right next to him the entire time. That's my take on it. They're both to blame. It's not just a one-way story.
Yeah, my take on it is that he lacked arm talent, but you could have found ways around it with a better offense, like the one that he had under Josh McDaniels. I think he also struggled from the lack of talent around him, with really the receiving core. I mean, he gave Kendrick Bourne the best year of his career, and he looked great with Mac his rookie year. The offensive line kind of was not very good following Mac's rookie year. There was a lot of mixing up pretty much every single week, and there was a lot of mistrust within his coaching staff, as Bailey Zappi was making appearances in Mac's second year after having a really good rookie campaign his first year. So I think it was a mixture of a lot of things. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it is ultimately on both the Patriots organization and Mac Jones himself, although I tend to blame the Patriots organization a little bit more. as I think Mac, there was some talent there. He's not a kind of player that can elevate a completely bad team around him. But as you can see that first year, if you put some decent talent around him, even a modicum of talent around him and have a decent coordinator, he can do things. He could have done things before they broke him. The years of Matt Patricia and now Bill Bryan as an offensive coordinator, I think that's done irreparable damage to both his confidence, his mechanics, the way he plays. I don't think he's ever going to be a starting quarterback again. It remains to see how good he'll be as a backup, especially since Trevor Lawrence seems to be getting hurt a lot recently. But I mean, he wasn't like a special talent, but it still does feel like the Patriots wasted what potential there was.
Yeah.
I think the only organization where he would have really, really exceeded expectations is San Francisco, Nick.
I was about to mention
definitely.
that
would've
they
been perfect
almost
for him.
drafted him at 3. So that's
I don't
crazy.
think-
But
I don't
he
think
also
he
just seems like a Jimmy G clone to me. So
Yeah.
so I think he was just a system fit at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Trey Lance was the home run strikeout pick. So
And it was,
They definitely struck out.
As the avid Patriot enjoyer of watching most of their home games every year, in person, I would believe that this
go ahead to flex on us real quick before
Yeah,
you give
I
us
mean,
game,
we
this
just all
game,
lost the band for band
this-
instantly.
Band for band.
Okay.
this man's career. Oh my God, dude. This, I mean, as we said before, a lot of talent around him at Bama. A lot of talent. You have first rounders on the offensive line. You had first rounders at wide receiver. You had a first rounder or 2 at running back. You had a first rounders into defense. Granted, New England gave you that. They gave you the defense. And that's really, my opinion, why they got to the playoffs that first year was the defense. The offense did enough under Josh McDaniels to get them there, to keep pace and to have them score points in those games where the defense dominated. But that second year, I mean, we just started to see the flaws. We started to see not only the flaws that we knew were there in Mac Jones going through the combine with not being able to throw the deep ball, not having that arm, not being as accurate as we thought he would be. It started to show. And yes, that comes with the wide receiver lack of talent that they provided. But at the same time, you take a guy in the first round from an organization perspective, a lot of people, we talk about, developing the quarterback, but at the same time, you expect the guy to elevate talent, right? You expect the good guys to elevate talent. And he just couldn't do that, And obviously, I think in that second to third year, the O-line was atrocious. I'm an O-line guy, and that was just bad. It was horrible what they were doing there. And there was no help on that front. But I mean, what I wanted to focus on was what he did off the field, which was go outside of the organization, complain to people that had nothing to do with the organization. As a coach, I don't care if you're Bill Belichick. I don't care if you're the next guy. If I'm a football coach and I have a player going outside of the organization looking for help, I'm not going to want him to play anymore. What do I care? You serious?
Yes.
Inside house? You're going out of house to excuse my language, bitch and moan? Really? Nah, dude. The Belichick made the right move. You're not starting. You get sad.
I agree. I mean,
Zappy gets the cook. Yeah, Zappy gets the cook, and it was gonna fall out at some point, and he will never start in Jacksonville. He will never. I'm sorry. All the Mac Jones supporters out there, I see you on Twitter. I've seen all of you on Twitter already. It's over. It's done. Joey, please.
I mean, I agree. You especially saw his second year, especially you saw the complaining highlighted because he was doing it on field. I mean, when you show that kind of, like, I'm all for showing emotion, but when you're showing that kind of emotion on the field, you're going to lose the locker room real fast. And he lost it really fast in New England. He had guys that were behind him that turned on him very quick, especially on that O-line. But yeah, anyone have any last thoughts before we move on here? No.
Just
All right.
overall, really disappointing career. He could have done better.
So it took me asking if you had thoughts 4 times before you decided you had something to say that didn't need to be said. All right, moving on. Our third segment here. This one's we're all pretty excited for this one. It's going to be our free agency predictions. And then if we have time, we'll touch on the combine a little bit more because we were cut short last week as well. But starting off, predictions for good old Kirko Chains. For me, I see him going to the Big A, going to Atlanta. Max's boys down there. I believe his wife was looking for a house down there. I read somewhere. I don't know. Just saying. Could be because Minnesota is really cold and she doesn't want to live there anymore. Who knows?
Well, I know me and Max also rode with Atlanta on this one. I think he's just a good fit there, and it seems like that's the move that's going to happen, especially because it was floating around the combine pretty heavily. What about you, Nick?
So I'm gonna actually differ from y'all here. I'm gonna say he's going back to the Vikings. I think that the Vikings this year, they were decently close to actually making the playoffs, despite not having a quarterback, and that level of talent they have on that offense. That bringing back Kirk could mean they have a run for a few more years and a potential to actually do something. I think this year proved more than anything that Kirk is important to that team, that he is not mid as many people on the internet would say he is. And I think it warrants him coming back for like a few more years.
Yeah, as an avid Falcons enjoyer, what about you, Max?
Hold on.
Oh.
If I recall, Nick, 2 years ago, you were one of the people saying Kirk was mid. So I don't want to hear that coming from you.
I have reformed.
Carl knows I've been a Kirk supporter.
I am a better
Joey's been a Kirk fan for a long time.
I've seen the light.
Should smack you with my newspaper. Max, thoughts?
So, Big Pico, man. I saw the chains. I saw the grill. I saw the grills that he put in. And I'm like, man, you know what that screams? That just screams an Atlanta Falcon. And we love it. We all want it down here. But I had an out of the ballpark one. We all think Atlanta. But I had one that I saw some rumors around. I saw some little fairy dust smoking around. And I saw some stuff of another team that needed a quarterback. That matches the change. It matches the grills. They like to play down bad and dirty. And that is Kirko Chains. I don't really see his family moving here. But playing for the silver and black, for the Raiders, as their next starting QB. That was the only other destination I had. I also had Falcons and Vikings.
I could see that.
The Raiders are there.
I can see the.
I mean, I'm an avid Aiden O'Connell enjoyer, so I'm not entirely sure about that.
Well.
I think they either draft or they stick with O'Connell just because their roster is garbage.
That's fair. All right, we're moving on to our next free agent on our big board here, Christian Wilkins. As much as I want him to be a Patriot, as much as I may beg and plead for him to be a Patriot, he is not going to be a Patriot. He is going to be a Minnesota Viking. They need help on the inside. They need help stopping the run. They're going to lose Denelli Hunter, which is one of their better rushers coming off the edge. So, I mean, it's not really the same, but you throw someone in the middle that can stop the run and get to the quarterback. It would help help out that poor defense quite a bit, especially because he played for Brian Flores in Miami. That's my thoughts.
Well, I wrote a certain team down, but I do have 2 teams in mind. So I originally wrote down the Patriots. I think he's a scheme fit, but I'm also not entirely sure if they're going to need another big run stuffer next to Christian Barmore, because I feel like that is Barmore's role, right, Joey? Or is he more of a pass rusher? Or is he a hybrid, dude?
He's more of I think he's more of a hybrid. It's a little early to tell because he kind of just had his breakout year. But he was getting to the quarterback. When I went to the Chiefs game, he was getting to the quarterback pretty well. Obviously,
yeah.
So,
well, I feel like the Patriots would be a good spot for him, but another one is the Texans. They had an obvious need interior defensive line. I think that would be a good fit as well.
Yeah,
I
so
also
you just took my pick actually. I was going to say the Houston Texans. They definitely need help stopping the run on the inside. Their edge of the line is pretty good with Will Anderson there, who had a very good rookie year. But they need help on the inside, and I don't think there's any better option than him from free agency, in which the Texans have a decent amount of cap space.
Big Mo.
Oh, okay. Yay. I had two. They're in the same division that have not been said yet. And I had the first one being a team that is losing their interior pass rush in free agency. And that is the Cincinnati Bang Bangs, being number one contender here for Mr. Wilkins.
It's a good one.
They have a decent edge rush right now. Kind of solid, kind of okay. But they're losing DJ Reader, I believe, the free agency. And why not just refill the gap with a rushing defensive tackle that's either better or on par with the production that Reader had with Christian Wilkins. And I had the Texans as the third, but my other option would be the Browns.
I can see that too.
Yeah, Max just mentioned DJ Reader. I think that could also be a pick for him to go back to the Texans. DJ Reader's been super underrated, pretty much throughout his entire career. Just at in the filling run fits, he's just very good, and I think Wilkins could also have a similar role to him in Cincinnati.
Great defensive tackle.
All right.
Favorites.
Next on our big board here, kind of sticking with the Minnesota train, we got Denelli Hunter. You know, I don't know outside linebacker needs that well. So I said the Jags. Their pass rush was kind of weak last year. I think it could have used some more help. I mean, Josh Allen and obviously Trayvon Walker. They're doing a good job, but outside of those two, their entire D-line combined, or D-line and outside linebackers combined for a mere 4 sacks, which is
well. Usually, there's only 2 edges of a line. You gotta
right. But you have your D end and you have an outside linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, Danielle Hunter's a clear edge. He's played 4-3 end and 3-4 outside linebacker. So him on the interior would be terrible.
It would be a bit tough to fit all of them. You'd have to get rid of Trayvon Walker.
No,
my other thought was the Bears.
No.
My other thought was the Bears.
Yes, that's a good fit.
You like that one? Okay, that's one I was looking more towards.
I was about to say the Jags one would make sense if Josh Allen gets moved, but it seems like didn't he get tagged and they're looking to sign him long term? I believe he's not a free agent at the moment.
I don't think he is. No, I think he got tagged.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if he got tagged or not when I was writing down my. Yeah, I couldn't remember if he got tagged or not, so I kind of just.
But if he's a tag and trade, that's a good fit. Also, Trayvon Walker, criminally underrated. One of the best run stopping edges in the league. Is also a good pass rusher.
Eden Hutchinson's
for me, I put Danielle Hunter on the Colts. I think they need some edge help. They have Kwity Paye, who's not amazing, and that's really it. So their interior is pretty decent, but I don't really like their edge rushers.
That's fair. Weezo?
So I'm a little biased in this pick, but I have him going to the Seattle Seahawks, who happen to have, I think, a top 10 amount of cap space in the league and definitely a very clear need at defensive line. It's been years since we had a really, really good pass rush. We've made progress towards it with players like Boye Mafe and Nwosu, but we really need that X factor on that D-line that can consistently get to the quarterback and change games, and I think Danielle Hunter is that guy for us. And especially with a defensive coordinator like Mike McDonald.
Is he the DC?
Or not DC, defensive-minded coach is what I meant.
Big Mo, thoughts?
So I have the number one on my choices here. I have the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have been looking for that edge to fill the gap of the edge they have lost through chopping off Bradley Chubb, letting Vaughn walk a couple of years ago. And I think he would be a good fit. I think they're going to free up money through the cuts they've been making and the multiple people that they're letting go, possibly trading them. I mean, they already shipped off Judy. Simmons is gone. We'll talk about him later. But yeah, Broncos. My backup thoughts would probably be Rams or the Commies.
Yeah, I think the Broncos and like the Commies would probably look to sign like a younger guy. Hunter's pushing 30, and I'm just not sure if that team's in that kind of spot at this point.
Yep. All right, moving on. Right down the big board. Carl's personal favorite player in free agency, Tyron Smith. There's only one team I see him going to, and they're the 6-time world champions residing in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Tyron Smith is going to my New England Patriots. We need help at tackle. He is the best tackle available. They are going to throw a bag at him. There's reports already saying they're getting ready to throw the bag at him Monday or Tuesday, whenever they do, whatever. I don't really care. Give him the bag. We need help. Whatever quarterback we have back there next year ain't going to be back there much longer if we don't get some offensive line help. So
Bailey Zappi needs help.
No. It's going to be Brissett, or it's going to be Jaden Daniels, or Drake May, or not him.
Copium is real.
It's gonna be Jacoby Brissett leading Jaden Daniels into battle at running back.
Where Jaden Daniels continues to not slide. Okay. I also agree with Joey here. I said the Patriots. I just think there's a lot of reports surrounding Tyron Smith. I haven't seen any other team. Obviously, there's a bunch of other teams that should be interested in him. He's still one of the best tackles in the league. I would say the Bears and the Steelers would be good fits as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with y'all. My pick for him was the New England Patriots based on the rumors going around, the amount of cap space they have and the needs. I mean, the thing is, with a team like the Patriots, when a team is as putrid and horrible as the Patriots are right now, not anything good on that team left at all. Probably the worst team, one of the worst teams in the NFL. You need to start building from the trenches, and there's no better way to do that than one of the last remaining pillars of the Great Wall of Dallas.
Quick question for you: did you beat the Steelers last year?
Tackle.
What was that?
You beat the Steelers, Nick? Yeah, I guess we beat the Steelers.
So no comment. No comment.
Shut up. We beat the Steelers. Our defense, top 10 in the NFL last
year.
year.
Harris is better than he looks.
No, he's not, Nick. Big Mo.
All right, Big Mo.
God, there's so much violence. I had
so much animosity.
My top pick here. The silver and black come up again, which I believe the Raiders need desperate help at the tackle position. I thought more of a fit for where a team is at right now would be the New York Jets. I liked them as a contender for Tyron Smith, get a guy to protect Aaron Rodgers. But my backups for that were the Raiders and the Saints. I thought the Saints could also use a new tackle in the building. Trevor Penning is terrible, and a lot of guys more on the Jets are terrible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. Yeah, I could see the Jets going after him if they don't like Joe Alt or like Olu as much.
I don't think they're gonna. I think, yeah, I do agree. I think the Jets are gonna be fine. Especially, I mean, they could definitely grab like Fuaga or.
Yeah. All right, moving right along here. One of the best running backs available in the free agency class this year. One of the best that's been in the league for a while. Saquon Barkley. At first I didn't expect him to be a free agent this year after, the Giants coming off that playoff win against the Vikings 2 years ago. I thought, maybe this young core that the New York has could stick around a little longer. I was wrong. the Giants suck. And it makes me very happy. But I've been very vocal on my X account of where I think Saquon Barkley is going to go for a few months now. And I don't see a reality where he does not go to the Houston Texans. I think they need that running back to help push their offense to the next level, and Saquon is that guy. I could also see the Eagles, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be the Texans. Take all your money, sell your house, sell your car, take all your paychecks, put it on to Houston.
Interesting. I would love to see Saquon in a Cowboys uniform. I think Saquon still has a bit left in the tank, but that's not who I chose. I also chose the Houston Texans. I would cry a lot if he was an Eagle. I don't want that to happen. So let's not have that happen, and let's just have him go to Houston.
All right. So for my pick, this one's would be definitely create a very dynamic offense, even more dangerous than it already was. Although it might be a bit of a tight cap situation, but I think if they restructure some contracts, it could potentially scrounge up the money. I have them going to the Baltimore Ravens. I think the rushing offense with Lamar and him would create would be generational, especially behind a pretty good O-line. I mean, in general, it would be the best offense in the NFL, without a doubt, in my mind. It would just thinking of that has me excited.
I'm a pretty big Keaton Mitchell fan, but that seems like a good move.
Keaton Mitchell, 1-game wonder.
No, 4-game wonder. Come on.
He had a lot of good games last year, Nick.
Well, I have to go with a team that I think has been rumored around a lot of moves this offseason. Everyone's wondering, what are they going to do with this first overall pick? What are they going to do with Justin Fields? But what are you going to do when the bear down comes for you with Saquon Barkley, Justin Fields, and Marvin Harrison Jr. first overall? It'll be one of the most generational offenses we've seen in this new NFL, because that's where he's going to be and that's where he's going to go. Saquon Barkley, a Chicago Bear.
Listen, Saquon Barkley's good, but he's no Khalil Herbert. Okay, let's move on.
Moving on.
Jonathan Grenard, yeah.
I think he's going back to Houston. I think, they're able to retain him. If they're not able to retain him, I think he would be interesting to see in Detroit, help beef up that defense. That's my thoughts.
I have him as a Chicago Bear. I think he's a young edge, and he would make a good pass rusher for them. I think another team that's also been mentioned needing some edge help is the Broncos. That could also be a good destination for him.
Yeah, definitely. For my pick, for Grenard, if that's how you pronounce his name, I have him going to the Washington Commanders. They've lost a lot of talent around the edges in trading Montez Sweat and Chase Young at the trade deadline, but overall, I think he would be a good addition, especially seeing how they have the most cap in the NFL right now and need to spend it in order to remain even semi-competitive. I think Dan Quinn especially is going to want some good talent off the edge, and that might influence their decision making.
Big Mo.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but this man is an Atlanta Falcon. We need some help off the edge. And who better than the young buck off the street and Jonathan Greenard? Yeah, I think he's a good fit for the team and where we're heading right now with a guy like Raheem Morris leading the way. But if it wasn't us, I could see it being the Rams.
I like that pick. Moving on, former Atlanta Falcon, Calvin Ridley. And there's only one spot Calvin Ridley's going. And that's the 6-time world champs, the New England Patriots. They came out today. They're preparing a bag to throw at Calvin Ridley as well. He's coming to New England.
I don't know where Joey's getting his news sources. I don't know if
It
it's
came out
just
this morning.
big Boston accounts, but
No. I will find the account right now.
yeah,
It is
sources
Boston.
the local
It's just
Dunkin'
Joey's
Donuts.
Twitter.
Boston account.
It's
Joey
my
just
burner account.
Joey just
My
his
apologies.
sources are just himself.
Yeah,
No.
his source is the cashier at the local Dunkin' Donuts.
While that is a possibility, I think there's a lot of different places Calvin Ridley could go. I chose the Arizona Cardinals. They need it really badly.
Per Jeremy Fowler this morning,
That's
the
not a
Patriots
real
are
person,
expected-
Joey. You
That's
can't just make
AI
up
generated.
names. Is that Ian Rappaport? I don't
Listen,
think so.
Joey, that guy's as real as Ennis Rakestraw Jr.
Is that Joey's? Is that zoned in Joey on Twitter?
listen, Calvin Ridley's the Patriot, whether you like it or not. They're going to swing big on him. They're going to get him. And if he's not going to get
That's too bad
he's
because he's
gonna-
already a Cardinal. What are your thoughts, Nick?
You see, I don't need a source. I'm just gonna make a statement. I'm gonna say he's going to the Patriots. It just seems like a pick. It seems like a pickup that they would make. It makes sense, especially because they're probably gonna bring in a young quarterback, and they won't have the capital to get another wide receiver in the early part of the draft. So I think that he would be a good option to pair with maybe a young wide receiver you get later on. Decent number one option for year one quarterback, especially if they're able to get Tyron Smith as well. Then that rookie quarterback will be decently set up.
See, when I agree with Nick, you know he's right. Big Mo.
That's the only time.
What's that
Nick,
supposed
that's
to
the only
mean?
time Joey.
What's that supposed to mean, Joey? Huh?
If there's
Big Mo,
one
take it back.
thing that the Patriots love, it is wide receiver one caliber players that are washed up, coming off an outside of the league problem, either legally or through post issues. And that man is going to be Calvin Ridley. If not, come on, guys. He's coming home. He's coming home if he
Josh
Yeah,
Gordon
He's
2.0.
He's coming.
Get
No,
him
no, no,
number
no, no,
0.
Calvin Ridley is Michael Floyd 2.0. He's the new Michael Floyd in New England.
Josh
Don't joke about
Gordon?
Don't even joke about that. All right. Moving on. The biggest name in free agency at the running back position, Derrick Henry. Now, there were some teams thrown around when we talked about our last running back, but in my mind, I was discussing this with Carl. There's only one team I could really see him going to, and that's the Dallas Cowboys, baby. They're getting Derrick Henry, and they're getting back to that Super Bowl, and they're going to win it this year with Derrick Henry leading the way, running through people. That's what they need. They need a man to run through people. They don't need a man to juke around them like Saquon Barkley. They need that pound and round game that Derrick Henry provides. But yeah, Cowboys. Carl?
I agree with Joey. Cowboys. Let's go.
Nick?
Yeah, I was saying Dallas Cowboys. You know, the departure
All right,
of
Max?
Tyron.
I'm a firm believer in Micah Parsons saying that Tony Pollard should be given a second chance. So I'm gonna say that the
Say
glorious
that to Carl's face.
Derrick Henry is going to the Baltimore Ravens.
That is a good second pick. I also agree with that. But he's already a Cowboy. Moving on. Justin Simmons. Did not expect him to get cut, if I'm being honest, for starters. Denver, all right, man. I went with a team here who, struggled with their secondary last year. Have the potential to be a good team, but, they kept getting burnt. And I could just be, way out in left field here and be completely wrong. And let me know if I am. But I said the Philadelphia Eagles. And Carl, don't say anything because you're biased. Thoughts?
I think the issue is Justin Simmons isn't out of his prime, so they're not going to sign him.
That is true.
But the fit is there. I'm not wrong.
I don't think they have the money for it, to be honest. I think they have. I mean, I do agree. Yeah, their secondary sucks. I agree there. Especially they signed Byard. They had Chauncey Gardner-Johnson that they lost recently. So it would be a good fit though.
Okay.
I chose Justin Simmons to stay in division and wear the silver and black in Las Vegas and go to the Raiders. They have a big need at safety. I just had their depth chart up, but they're starting some interesting players at safety. I do know that they drafted Trayvon Moehrig pretty high up, but they are currently starting Marcus Epps at their other safety position, so they could definitely use some more high quality players there.
Yeah, for my pick, I'm gonna have to agree with Joey here. I think the Eagles are the best option, but that's only if they can manage to scrounge up the money. Their secondary looked putrid in the second half of the year. I think that literally anyone could pass on that team at a certain point, but
Drew
I
Lock, for
can't really
example.
think who else other than the Eagles off the top of my head. But I think it would be a good fit for them.
Big Mo.
So I mean, there's three obvious choices here. Three obvious choices that haven't been said. And I'm very angry that haven't been said. One, we made a big splash last season. We went out and signed the best safety available. So why not? Well, hear me out here. Why
They
not?
play the same position, Max.
We just do it again and have them play at the other safety.
They play the same position.
We just do it again.
You cannot
We
play
just do it again,
safety.
right? We just do it again. Richie Grant, get out of here, buddy. You're gone. All right. And then we just play them both. We just play them
This isn't Madden.
My more realistic shut up, Nick. My more realistic pick is the team that this man is speaking on that actually just released both their safeties in the Seattle Seahawks and the Packers. Packers need a safety.
That's not a bad bet. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Could you also see
Better not.
the Buffalo Bills releasing half the secondary, signing a safety like
Yeah,
that?
but they released their secondary because they need money. Why would they turn around and then
They
sign
released their
another
secondary
safety?
because they're poor.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Moving on to our next player on the big board, and I will butcher his name. I am bad with pronouncing names, as you guys may have found out already. Mike Owenu, former New England Patriot, wanted to test the market. Has said he wants to stay in New England, but I don't trust that. But he's going to stay in New England because if the Patriots let him walk, they're stupid. Plain and simple. You have the money. Give him the money. You don't need another defensive piece like they're rumored to try and find in free agency. You don't need that. You need an offensive line. So what do? You go sign Tyron Smith, and you go re-sign Mike Owenu, and then you go sign Calvin Ridley, and then you're done. That's all your free agents. Don't even sign Jacoby Brissett. Go sign Jaden Daniels, or draft Jaden Daniels instead, or Drake May, and then you're done. That's all you got to do, New England. So re-sign Mike Owenu, and we won't have a problem. If you don't re-sign him, we're gonna have a problem. Carl, thoughts?
I completely agree with Joey. I have Mike Onwenu as a New England Patriot. I'm returning. I just think it's the obvious move. I think obviously every team has a need on the offensive line. Obviously the Bears could be a fit, but I think the Patriots is the right spot for Mike. What do you think, Nick?
I think him returning to the Patriots is the obvious move, one that makes sense for him and the organization. However, I'm going to have him going to a new home, and I'm going to say he's going to become a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have very much needed offensive line help for a long time now. And he would help fill some of those holes on that team very nicely.
Nick, he
Big
plays
Mo,
all
thoughts?
5 positions, but he can't play all 5 at once. So that's why he's going back to New England. Max?
I have Mike Owenu going to a new home as well.
Oh, no.
I have him not going to New England. I have him becoming Nick's very own Seattle Seahawk.
Yes, yes. This would be the first time we have O-line in my entire time being a Seahawks fan.
Kenneth Dogwalker needs help, and he's the perfect pick.
Now that the devil who shall not be named is gone, we might actually have an offense, and having an offensive lineman would really help that.
Joey, come back! Joey, come back!
Joey,
That
no!
has made Joey very upset.
We've lost him.
You could have picked
Space is
any
turning
of the
red.
30 other ones,
It's
the other
over.
teams, but you picked them.
We've gotten tomato Joey.
Never sign off as a line. All they get is cross.
They need a guard.
Nothing else.
They need a guard. Charles Cross is terrible. They need a guard. What do we want from me?
They can have Trent Brown.
Hey, chill out.
You can have Trent Brown, Nick, and you'll like it. All right, moving on.
Like that.
Chase Young. I see Chase Young going to a team in the NFC South, a team that has a lot of interest in Chase Young, and it is not the Atlanta Falcons. It's Max's least favorite team in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints.
With what money?
I'm just saying it's the best fit. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
I
I also just wanted Max to get up.
I was about to say they're like $50 million in debt.
They'll find some way.
So were the Chiefs 2 years ago, and they still signed all their players back.
Someone's got to stop them.
So for my selection for Chase Young, I went with the Vikings. Just losing Danielle Hunter and their other edge spot's not great either. So they need some help for sure.
Yeah. For my pick for Chase Young, I have him staying in division right now, and going to a team completely devoid of talent in the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals could pick up literally any player with a pulse, and it would be an improvement. So Big Mo.
Big Mo.
I have Chase Young being an Atlanta Falcon, because we need help off the edge.
Oh my God!
But
A wise man once said that you can only have 53 players on a roster.
But
This guy right here.
the Vikings one was my next bet. It was pretty good.
All right.
Solid.
We'll move on to former Cowboy, former Patriot, former Buffalo Bill, former Colt, former Panther, Stephon Gilmore. I could see him going to a lot of places. New England is not one of them. Atlanta, not one of them. Seattle, not one of them.
We don't.
I see him going. What?
We don't need him.
Anyway, I see him going to one of three places. The Washington Commanders, because they do not have a good secondary. The Las Vegas Raiders, because it just feels right. And the Cincinnati Bengals, because they need help in that secondary too. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I do agree that Gilmore has that Raiders aura for some reason. But I have him going back to Dallas, and I think that's the obvious move to
I
make.
think it was a little less more obvious of a destination. A team that was really good overall. Their defense kind of floundered despite their offensive prowess. And their secondary play sometimes came back to bite them in big games, despite how far they made it in the playoffs. I have them going to the Detroit Lions and their $50 million in cap space. I think he would be a good addition to that cornerback room that clearly needs some help on the. And overall, yeah, I think he would help them get back to a NFC Championship run.
Yep, that was the team I forgot about. That definitely could use the help there. Big Mo?
I also had Stephon Gilmore going to the Detroit Lions. That is a cornerback room and a young defense that needs some more leadership. And I feel like Stephon Gilmore brings that 100%. Helps him in that situation of a playoff run. But also, for the sake of fun, I think a return to New England is clearly possible. And I would like this very much.
See,
Clearly not possible, but we can.
I don't dislike it, but I'd rather spend the money on the offense.
I think there's a better chance that J.C. Jackson signs back with the Patriots.
Don't joke about that. Moving on. Hollywood Brown, I see two potential spots. The first one, and I think probably the least likely one, I could see a reunion with the Ravens now that they have a better passing offense than when he was initially there. Although they do have some good receivers. I don't know how long they have. Is OBJ still there for a couple of years, right? So I could see him coming back as a number 3 option, potentially.
I think he's a free agent.
He's a free agent? Okay. Well, I could see him coming back as a second or third option for Lamar behind Zay Flowers. And then I could also see him going to the Giants, a team. I could see him going to the Giants, a team that needs help in that wide receiver room as well.
Yep. I thought of the Giants as well, but I just think he's a Tennessee Titan.
He does also feel like a Titan. I could see that. That's reasonable.
I'm going to say the same thing. I had him going to the Tennessee Titans. It just seems like such a random move for the Titans that seems very on brand for them. They pick the most random acquisitions that make no sense. Their front office has been a mess for a while, ever since they started trading away players like A.J. Brown for practically nothing.
Are you not a big Robert Woods supporter?
Oh, my God.
All right,
but overall, he would provide a decent weapon for like a decent 2 or 3 option weapon for the mailman himself, Will Levis. But I mean, he wouldn't make too much of a difference, but it would at least show the Titans are trying, but even when they're not really.
Big Mo.
So, I'd like to just apologize for my previous actions. A lot of these statements have been outlandish for where these guys will go. But I firmly believe that this is a possible one here. This is possible. All right, now hear me out. He could be an Atlanta Falcon. Okay, he could. My argument, my wide receiver room is Drake London and a bunch of special teamers. I need help. I need serious help, and I have enough money to give him. So we could get him. We can, yes. If not,
somebody doesn't know ball. Mac Hollins, elite.
He's not going to be on the team anymore. Shut up. And I have him going to the Ravens comeback is immaculate. He'd be the number 1 receiver. Yes.
All right. Moving on to we skipped a player accident. Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh, right. We did skip him.
I'd missed this player on the list when we first went through it, so I don't have pre-landed spots. But I'm just going to rattle off the top of my head here what I think is going to work out. And it's going to be wrong, but I see him going to the Bengals, baby.
They could I think that was the first thing I was thinking of. If we see a Ravens reunion there, depends on what he's looking to get. But I chose the Rams. I think they could definitely use an edge rusher next to Byron Young. So
I have him going to the Bears on a 1-year deal. I think he could provide some good mentorship for any young edge rushers they also bring in, whether through the draft or other free agency means, because they have a decent amount of money. Relatively low cost, low risk move.
Nick, it's not going to be low cost. It's not going to be low. He was a top 5 edge rusher last year. He's going to cash out. He's not going to be 1 year, 10 mil like he was with the Seahawks. He's going to make some money this year.
I guess. I mean, I still think he could go to the Bears for 1-2 years, regardless.
It's not going to be 1 year. I'm telling you that right now.
All right, Big Mo, take it away.
I just think like you're looking past something that's very possible here. And I like when Carl was talking about returns, and I think of returns with Jadeveon Clowney, and I thought of where Jadeveon Clowney was matched up with one of the best edge rushers of our generation back in the day. I think this man could return to the playoff possible 2 years in a row. Texans, maybe return home for Jadeveon Clowney.
I think that would be a really good move.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, he's an elite run stopper, and it would be a Jonathan Grenard replacement. So I think that'd be a good fit.
That's a good move. Yeah.
All right, On to our last player on the big board, Buda Baker. There's a lot of places I can see Buda Baker going. But just like Derrick Henry, there's only one place he's going to go. He's going to help them Cowboys win their next championship to make it, what's that, 6, Carl? 6 rings. Shut up, Carl. I know it doesn't fit right, but it doesn't matter. He's going to, he's a Cowboy. He feels like a Cowboy. He looks like a Cowboy. He sounds like a Cowboy. He's a Cowboy. All right, Carl.
All right, that was interesting. I have Buda Baker to the Packers. They need safeties. I don't have him as a Cowboy. I think the Cowboys do have a need at safety, but I think they need a box safety more than anything, like a Jaron Kearse replacement because he's kind of washed up now. But they have their center field guy in Malik Hooker, and they have another guy who's really good in Donovan Wilson. So, what are your thoughts, Nick?
My thoughts. I have Buda Baker going to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, their secondary's been pretty bad for a while now. A lot of that defense and team in general has been pretty bad. But overall, I think it's a move that just makes sense. He seems to have that aura for the Raiders to me. I think you would pair well on that team and get decent results.
Big Mo?
Big Mo.
Don't say it.
No.
You don't need 3 high-paid safeties. Come on.
You don't need it. You don't
I think he's a better fit
I'm not going to even
Simmons.
entertain this. We're moving on.
He's being
We're done.
censored.
Real quick before we end here. I don't know how true of a report this is, but I just saw per JPA Football on Twitter that there's 3 new players in on the Saquon Barkley sweepstakes: the Baltimore Ravens, the Chicago Bears, and the Los Angeles Chargers. Could be interesting. Now that's, I believe, 5 teams. And all right. And that's all we have for you today at the Zoned In Podcast. We appreciate the support, everybody. Make sure you like, follow, share, subscribe, et cetera, to all the social media platforms. We'll keep the content coming. We apologize. We did not get the Spotify episode out for last week. That's on us. I know we have very few Spotify listeners anyway. YouTube's vastly popular for this podcast, which we're fine with that. We like that. We like YouTube. But yeah, thank you guys. We appreciate it. And until next time, we're always locked in.
Go Birds!